Hey everyone, Brianna here with another video about graduate school. Today I'm going to be talking about surviving and thriving in graduate school. A lot of people will hear that grad school is tough, that it is a lot mentally and physically, and that you have to have good systems in place to kind of get through it. And that's true. A lot of people who are successful in graduate school do have plans to kind of keep them on track and to keep them safe and mentally healthy. So I'm just going to share a couple of tips that I found have helped me so far. So first is setting boundaries. Boundaries are so critical to making it through graduate school. A lot of times people just think, oh, in graduate school you have to be working 80 to 100 hours a week, you have to be doing everything all the time. And while some people might find that's the best route for them, it's not necessarily the best for everyone. For some people, they treat graduate school as work, as a career, and that is kind of what it is. You are taking a step in further establishing your career, but graduate school is very different from undergrad. So a lot of people have set their boundaries for like how they would with a regular job. Some people only work 9 to maybe 5 or 6 on weekdays, and then they do not even touch the weekends. Some people set aside one day on the weekend for them to do work. It really depends on what works best for you. During my first year, it was a little bit easier for me not to do as much work on the weekends because I wasn't really thoroughly into my research yet. So I started the year saying, I'm not working on the weekends, I'm not going to do it. And then that changed a little bit. A couple of times I would work on a Sunday, but Saturdays were my days that were just completely for me. So that worked for me. I think going into my second year, I'm going to do that as well. I'm trying to keep my work to the weekdays. So if that means that sometimes I have a longer day, then that's just what's going to happen. I really do want to save my weekends for taking care of myself and kind of putting my projects and my research and all of my assignments to the side. And one way that I kind of wind down at night is I have my emails on my phone, so I do have the applications to look at them, but I set do not disturb on the app. So I use Outlook for my university email address. I set it to do not disturb after about 6:30 p.m. and it doesn't really make any kind of noise again until about 7:30 in the morning. So that's just, if I'm on my phone on like Instagram or Twitter or something, I'm not like, oh, I have a notification, gotta go click it. Nothing shows up on my phone until the next morning. And I think that has been really helpful for me. Another thing is setting boundaries and saying no. Something that was when I was an undergrad, you couldn't stop me from saying yes to doing some opportunity where I could get leadership experience, or I could do something really cool that maybe wasn't so related to what I was doing. So I had trouble saying no. But in graduate school, you're going to be faced with a lot of different opportunities, and I think it's really important to decide which ones are the most important to you. So if there's an opportunity that is completely unrelated to your program, but it's really great for your mental health, I'd say go for it. But if people are just asking you to do things so that they can have someone to do those things, take the time to really think about whether or not that is something that you want to do. Maybe you're thinking about if this will help me with my future career goals. Like that would be something that maybe you could say yes to. Obviously, you're going to decide what you say yes or no to, but saying no is definitely something, it's a skill. And I think that graduate school is a great time to exercise that because we don't want to overextend ourselves. The second thing that I would say is finding a support system. So within your program, you probably have the cohort that you came in with. It could be, a really small, tight-knit cohort, or it could be really big, kind of depending on your field. For me, my cohort is 9 people. So it's a nice size, and we kind of lean on each other for a lot of different things, but they provide a lot of support within your program. I think when you're in graduate school, it's very easy to just kind of stick to the people who are doing the same things as you. They're in your program, they're in the trenches with you, and it's great to have them to kind of decompress and just kind of process things, but it's also important to have people outside of your program who you can just do social things with, and you aren't thinking about school and research and projects all of the time. So sometimes that might look like finding some graduate student organizations at your university, whether it's based on some kind of common interest, or for me, one of mine is the Black Graduate Students Association. So we're a bunch of Black graduate students across the university, and we don't necessarily talk about academics all the time. We do a lot of social things, so that's been really great for me. You can also go do some intramural sports. Some graduate students do that. Some will, do a cooking class that is not affiliated with the university at all, so then you're just making friends outside in the world. But I think it's really important that you have those people that you can lean on so that you are not always focused on school all the time. The third thing kind of goes hand in hand with the first two, but it's prioritizing your mental health. So a lot of people in graduate school, unfortunately there's this culture that graduate students don't have the best mental health, but I think it's very important that you take care of yourself. So, self-care is a huge topic, and finding what works for you is really great. Some people that is, involving yourself in those groups that I talked about before, and for some people that's just, reading a book that has nothing to do with your schooling. So I personally love reading fantasy fiction. I especially love young adult fantasy. So that is something that I really like to do to kind of decompress and kind of recharge. Something else that you'll hear a lot about, but maybe not a lot of people take advantage of, is therapy. I think a lot of people think that you have to go into therapy having a specific problem, but it is nice to just have somebody who is a neutral party who will just kind of talk to you about how to best navigate and cope with some of your responsibilities or your anxieties, but they don't have a stake in your social or your academic life. So they don't have a hidden agenda. They just want to make sure that you are mentally healthy, which I think is really great. So a lot of people should take advantage of that. I personally am in therapy, and I think that it is great being able to talk to somebody who's not in my family. They are not my friend. Your therapist probably shouldn't be your friend, but they have no stake in my academic progress. They just want to make sure that I'm doing okay, and I really appreciate that. And then the last thing is remembering why you're there in the first place. Making the decision to go to graduate school is no small feat, and I think sometimes along the way, some of us forget why we're even here. So it's really important to remember what got you down this path to kind of help you push through. So I know a lot of people journal, some people will, do these vlogs and kind of keep track of their journey. But I think it's really great to just write down some of the reasons why you started this path. Whether it's, a research interest you had, or a story that somebody told you that really sparked that interest, they kind of got you down this path. But write them down, put that list in a safe place, and whenever you are just kind of like, why am I here? Why did I make this decision? Get that list out and remember what you're doing here and what you're trying to accomplish. A lot of us are trying to accomplish so many great things, and sometimes that can get lost in the sauce when you're just kind of buckled down and thinking about all of your responsibilities. But we're all here for a reason, and you are here for a reason. Sometimes when you are feeling really down, you start to feel a lot of doubt. Imposter syndrome is real. And I think having some of these systems in place, whether it's setting your boundaries or having your support group, or, talking with a therapist, or having, something to kind of connect to who you are as a person, can really help you when you're having those down moments. So knowing that you are in this program, it wasn't some fluke. Somebody saw your application, they talked to you in an interview at a conference or something, and they saw something in you and want to help you thrive and succeed either as an academic or in industry. So when you're feeling those downtimes, which we all do, it's important to remember that you were chosen to be in the program that you're in, and Nobody can take that from you. But other than that, you know, graduate school is a little bit hard, but you can definitely make it through if you have some of those systems in place. A lot of support is really great. Anyway, there are some really great resources for graduate students to kind of help us get through this journey. There are a lot of Twitter accounts and blogs and Instagrams, and I'll link some of them below, that really kind of do a great job to support students and let them know that they're not alone. So even when you are feeling down, sometimes I just like to go to some of my favorite Twitter accounts, and they are really great with kind of validating like why I'm here. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and leave any comments or likes down there if you have any suggestions or if there's anything you think I should cover. Thanks. Bye.